Welcome, Kunal. Welcome, Sam. We'll be starting in like next 2 minutes. Hello and welcome everyone to the webinar. Thank you so much everyone for taking out your time and coming up in this morning. Thank you for all of you for joining in. I hope this would be a very enthralling session for you. So without further ado, let me introduce you first to myself. So I am Vanshika and I'll be your host for the session. In case you have any questions, any queries while the session is ongoing, please feel free to drop your questions in the chat box. In case you want to talk to the speaker as well, he'll be handing over his email ID. So that's also something that could be done. So without taking any other minute, let me introduce you all to the speaker of the day. Today we have amongst us Mr. Chandan. He is the Chief Product Officer and co-founder at GoodGist, and he had been building a lot of products that I think today you and I are even part of it. Uh, Chandan, welcome to the session.
Thank you, Vanshika. Can you guys hear me? Just doing it.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you. Welcome to this webinar. Thank you for joining. It's I don't know, based on the location you are. Good morning and good evening to everybody. I really appreciate you taking time on a Friday morning or a Friday evening joining this session. So a little bit about my background. I have been in the industry for almost 22, 23 years. Have been working in engineering, then moved to product management, and I worked in my background is in product management. I worked in the learning management software space as well as the RPA space, the the robotic process automation space. So we co-founded GoodGist last year. Give me just 1 second while people are joining. Hi, everybody who joined. Welcome.
Chandan, you can make me the co-host. I'll handle that part. Yeah.
Okay. How do I do that?
Okay, you need to go on participants. Click on that, you'll see everyone.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I think
Yes, done.
I did it now. All right. So I come from the background of robotic process automation as well as the learning management software, as well as I worked in enterprise software company which delivered product for quote to cash. So I have a little bit background on the sales cycle, and I believe the audience today is mainly interested in how we can automate the processes or the workflows in sales cycle and make it easy for the sales team, for the business development representatives on their day-to-day task. And that's what I will be taking you through in this journey. So let me share my screen. All right. You guys see my screen, right?
Yes, yeah. Everybody, it's
Uh,
visible. You can raise your hand.
all right. So let me. So what we will be covering today, I'll give you an introduction of GoodGist, what we do, and also I will discuss, how this platform can help, sales teams, marketing teams in their day-to-day task, and how we think about this automation, how is it different from the traditional RPA, and I'll take you through this journey. So today we'll be talking about like some of the major challenges in the sales teams, how AI can help, I'll walk you through some use cases on lead generation, sales enablement using AI, using our platform, right? All right. So in general, not only in the sales, what we found in our research is that, one second. Most professionals across service-oriented industries or in any company spend on an average around 28 hours per week on some repetitive task. They come to the work and they have to do those tasks almost every day. And if I dig deeper into that, they spend almost 1.5 hours per day on searching information, 1 hour per day on data entry, content repurposing, 2 hours per day on the document reviews, and around 1.1 hours per. This is basically across the industries. This is the industry standard, and around 1.1 hours per day on the routine communication. These are basically, in some cases, tasks that the given a option the employees would not want to do, but they have to do on a day-to-day basis. All right. So now to automate this task, if you look at the automation journey, we started with traditional RPA, which is basically a rule-based system that automates some of your tasks. The problem is RPA cannot think. It is basically once you define the rule, but we have seen in the industries that the rules changes. So what the AI agents offer on top of that is that the agents can think. It can, retrieve information. It can analyze information. It can compute. It can explain, and it can facilitate flow of orchestration, execute the task, answer queries of the user, search for relevant information, and the most important thing is think. It can reason, it can plan, it can act and review and iterate. That is the unique to the agentic approach or the AI approach over the traditional RPA approach. Because in RPA, if your rule changes, if your RPA is primarily the UI-based automation, and the moment your UI changes or your rules changes, you always have to rebuild those software bots that is used in RPA to automate the tasks, right? That is a pain point. That is, and that is a very common scenario rather than an exception, that every industry or every team that goes through it has to change is constant. But it's difficult to keep up with the pace of changes. They forget to change the bot. They forget to rebuild the bots, and that's where their automation breaks. So that's the problem that we solve, because AI can. There is no rule here. It's basically you give a context, it can automatically think and repurpose everything. It can calibrate to the new change of rules. All right. So what we offer as a platform, when we started, We started with some specific use cases, but soon we pivoted to a platform approach that, we should be able to automate any tasks that is that is required for the user to, enhance their day-to-day work, or, help with the day-to-day work. So our main focus was we didn't want the user to code, right? Anybody should be able to create an automation, create an agentic workflow with just simple English language. So you can create, multiple agents. You can create a workflow that multiple tasks or multiple agents works on to complete that whole process. We Our platform is, there is no deployment time. There is no, all those traditional, like how you need to kind of, spend time. There's a platform deployment and all those things. None of those exist in our platform. You can go live literally in minutes, and I'll show you today. And we don't want the user to do any coding, neither any configuration. I mean, if you look at the traditional automation platforms, there are a lot of configurations that are involved, rule configuration, identifying what are the connectors they need, and all those kind of things. We do those automatically. And you can either build a workflow or an agent in our platform and consume it in our platform, or you can also embed that into your system. So you don't have to leave the enterprise system or your internal system that you are used to. Say, for example, a recruiter or a HR person or a salesperson. A salesperson does not have to leave Salesforce or HubSpot if they're using one of those systems, and they can embed our automation directly into those systems. They can build it in GoodGist, and just, with a simple embed code, they can go and add those automations into their preferred enterprise systems. All right, so whenever we talk about AI, one thing that comes into every user's mind, every company's mind, is about the inaccuracies and hallucination. Hallucination is still a part of AI. I mean, we know every AI system, every model does hallucinate sometime. I mean, it's a fact. Now, how we kind of try to tackle that? What we found is that the the accuracy of the automation or accuracy of AI depends on how granularly you define those tasks, right? If an agent does few things, or a single thing, then you get the accuracy, rather than giving a lot of instructions to the agent and expecting it to do a lot of things. At that point, it's going to hallucinate. If your knowledge base is very diverse, or it is not accurate to a particular subject, then it might hallucinate, right? So what we do is, we automatically, when you define a workflow, and you are going to see it in the demo, when you define a workflow, we are going, our framework, the agentic framework, is going to break it into multiple parts. You don't have to do anything. The user doesn't have to do anything. It will automatically determine what are the tasks that it needs to break into to achieve the goal of the complete workflow. So that's how we make sure that we define the task at very granular level, so that one agent does only one thing, and each agent in the workflow can talk to each other. It's basically, for example, let's say you define a workflow and it identified there are 7 tasks in that. Then each agent automatically, once it is done, it passes the output to the next one. It can give instructions to the next one, and then each agent runs in that order. I think that's one of the things that is working for our customers, is that we accurately identify at a very, very granular level what are the tasks that we need to build, or the workflow need to build in order to complete this process accurately. All right, so coming back to today's webinar, I wanted to talk about few problems that are very relevant to the sales team, right? We've found from our research that most sales team, including ours, struggle with human skill issues that impacts efficiency as well as margins. I mean, there is the problem of everyday lead filtration, lead generation. Then 60% of the time across the industry is actually spent. 60% of the time of the sales team or the business development team are actually spent on repetitive tasks. We have different systems that helps those salespeople, but in general, because it is kind of the beginning phase of the AI revolution, I'm thinking of AI as the last solution. So in the demo, I would love to walk you through some of these use cases, how we can achieve those, and how easy it is to automate those processes. All right, so with that, let me jump onto the demo. I would like to show you some of the use cases that, start with how you can use this platform, how we structure this platform, and then, show you some of the use cases that I talked about. All right, so let me stop sharing and share my browser. Okay, I hope you are able to see my screen.
Yes, Chandan.
All right. So our platforms, think of our platform as an extension of your team. That's how we have structured the platform. So the very core component of our platform is something called the team space. So you can create a team space for your team that has the task or the processes that you can automate, and everybody in your team can use those processes. So when you go to app.goodgist.com, you will come to this screen, and the first thing you need to do is basically create a team space. Creating the team space is simple. Just give a name. And a description. To get started, right? Once the team space is created, you can go and click on this small settings button, and you can add users, or you import your users. You basically import your teams into this team space, and they get an invite and they can onboard onto the team. So you can add users. You can also set some context variables for the team. Context variables are like, okay, you say, for example, some instructions to the team space, or you always use some of the variables in. I mean, there are basically some common instructions to all the processes that you want to instruct, depending on your team's goal or what the team should do. So you can add those, and it will also show you the analytics as and when you go and I mean, basically analytics for each and every workflow that you have automated, and how many users are using it, whether the task that it has completed, all those kind of things. Now, I created a team space. This is one of the team space that I use. And now, once you create the team space, we support two different types of workflows or agents. Either multiple agents or single agents. So the workflows, which is which typically consists of multiple agents to complete a workflow. We call it an agentic workflow. And then you also see another one, which is like a knowledge search agent. This is basically used by our customers to kind of a help tool or a chat bot to ask any question to the agent, and the agent will answer. For today, I'll mainly focus on the agentic workflows, which can automate the processes for the sales team. So let me show you the first workflow that I wanted to show you. I'll create this workflow again. So my use case is I want an agent that reads. So typically, every company will have some signals. So for example, for a sales representative or a business development representatives, you want to do a reach out, and probably you want to see some of the signals that in the market, or changes in the company. So this is kind of a signals file that I took from the internet. Somebody published it very recently. So my use case is, okay, for my company, determine the top 5 signals from this list that matches, right? And then for those top 5 signals that the agent has already identified, then pick up what are the base triggers. These are basically we call as triggers, and then ask the user for the target market or the geography. So basically, you say, okay, take these triggers, apply these triggers, find out companies who meets those triggers in North America. Okay, let's say you want to do it only for North America, not across the world. Then for the target market, do a web search to identify the top 5 target companies. Say, for example, these top 5 companies meets these signals, and they also meet my ICP, right? Or my target customers. And then the workflow will go and do some research about who are the decision makers in those top 5 companies. Look up their detailed information in your lead gen system. For this demo, we configured Apollo.io, which will go and identify who are those decision makers, what are their contact details and everything. They generate an email for those people, and so that you can send to those decision makers, offering your products and services, and then you can automate all the way to sending those emails to those people, or you can say, okay, create a draft in my inbox so that I can review and send those emails whenever I feel confident, right? So if you look at this, let me actually create this agentic workflow right here. So what you'll do is you'll come here and say, create workflow, and we'll explain that, okay, these are the things I want to do. This workflow reads the signals from a file, ask the user for the company's website URL, read the website and determine what are the best triggers for this company and pick the top 5 triggers. Ask the user for the target market geography. For the target market, do a web search to identify the top 5 target companies that match any of the top 5 triggers. For each of those target companies, determine which role is right, which role is the right decision maker, and look up Apollo.io for the name, email, role of the decision maker. Generate a conversational email for each of these identified person on how GoodGist.com platform or your company. You can say, I just hard-coded GoodGist.com here, or you can say how sender's company can help them based on the trigger, create a personalized draft email, and format the email in proper HTML format, save the draft email in my Microsoft Outlook. So that's why I call it an extension of the team. This is like giving an instruction to somebody in your team to do a few things, right? It's as simple as that. It's basically everything that I want this process to do, or I want this external team member, which is a digital worker, to do. You just explain it step by step in the workflow. Now, once you do that, you say, okay, create. So we run an agent behind the scene to plan it, like what, it will go and create a plan, what it needs to do to go and, what are the tasks that it needs to create, what are the, configurations that it needs, because I said email, it will probably ask me for my email configuration and all of those things, right? So I can go and say, okay, proceed. So you see that it identified that, okay, first thing I need to do, these are the agents basically, right? So first thing it said, okay, I need to read the signal file, right? I need to, do company trigger analyzer. Do I go to the web, or, do you want to do it from some file? For this, I think we said do it from the email. Decision maker finder, email generator, and then, it basically broke down each and every task that it needs, or task agents, as we call it, that it needs to complete the whole workflow. So now if you go and click here, it will say, hey, I need the file. So you need to go and create a file connector here, right? So I can browse to that file and then, upload that file in here, right? So this is the file. I can just go and say upload. Okay, it will index that file and make it ready for me. I save, I update. So this configuration is done. This is a web search. So you can go and say, okay, enable web search. By default, we disable web search. And you can also say that don't do an entire web search, just do for some specific domain. So you can specify the domains here. And then, you can, because if you do the enable web, it will basically go to the entire web and search for the information. Rather than you can say, okay, I don't want you to go to the entire web. Just go to these particular domains, right? So you can save this. Okay. Now, I think this is also a web search. You can do this. Okay. So to find the decision makers, I instructed the workflow to, go to my Apollo and do like, find out who are the decision makers, their email ID and everything. So you can, we have a inbuilt Apollo connector. You can just give a name, say, sorry. And you can configure the API key for, let me get the API key. So this is the API key for my Apollo. And then you save it here. It's done, update. So this configuration is done. And then the Outlook, Microsoft Outlook, because I wanted them to kind of save the draft in my Outlook, right? So I can go and configure the Outlook here. It will take you to the OAuth flow of Microsoft Outlook, and then configure the connect to your email. So once this is done, your automation, the process is almost done. So now you can go and click on the run workflow. So when you run, say for example, this is the same workflow that I created. When you run this workflow, it's going to execute each of these tasks one by one and give you the final output. It's basically not only that, it's going to give you the results of each task that it has completed. For example, these are the tasks, right? Let me show you something. If you can look at for each and every run, what are the triggers that it identified? What are the tasks that companies in North America that meets those triggers. Let me go into another one that has. Yeah. So if you look at this, it gave the output for each and every task, right? It identified what are the trigger points. Uh, And then, these are the trigger points that it identified based for this particular company, right? Companies with recent job openings. It identified, okay, companies with recent job changes, companies with recent website visits, all these trigger points. I asked it to find top 5 trigger points for this company that I gave as an URL, and then recent technology stack changes, all of those kind of things. So it identified the top 5 triggers, and then it went and did the research about the decision makers, right? It found these people. It did the research for each and every company, and found out the decision maker in each of those, right? And then finally, it went ahead and prepared the email for me, and then it said, okay, these are the emails that I have prepared, right? Uh, and it will go and save it into my Outlook. So, for example, I, I think I need to share my Outlook too. Give me just a second. Uh, do you guys see my screen?
Yes, yes, Chantal, we can.
So do you see the draft emails, or do you see my inbox?
We see
You see
your,
my drafts?
yes, we see your.
Okay. So, for example, for Anand Kashyap from Zero, it prepared this email and kept it, in my Outlook folder. I can also automate this. Okay, add this signature, but all of those things, and then I review it once and just send it to this particular person. So that is one use case that I wanted to demonstrate, that how easy it is to build a workflow for this, to automate this whole workflow. Now, I also wanted to show you a second use case, that is relevant to the sales teams, maybe. So let me go back to my. Okay. So this is another workflow. Basically, what it does is that, I don't know, many of you have probably systems like this. So anybody who visits goodgist.com, and we get a message, if it meets our ICP, or no, actually from RB2B, anybody who visits our website, we get a Slack message from in a channel from RB2B, that say, okay, these are the people who visited your, with their name, with their job title, the industry, and few details, right? 3 or 4 details like that. And then what this agent does is it basically went and it goes and looks at the um, leads from Slack. Who are those people who visited? It does a LinkedIn profile extraction that, okay, what are those people, what are they, what are their profile, what information that I get from there. Then it goes and again look for the emails from apollo.io. It does a research about the company. It does a research about the industry. It does a research about the product and services that we can offer to meet the requirement, and it again goes and create a draft in the email. So if you look at my Slack, you can see this person Soumya. She visited our website, I think yesterday, and then it automatically, when I run that flow, it
Chandan, if
automatically.
are you sharing screen for Slack?
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Yeah, I
Let
think it's
me. Yeah. Let me actually share my whole desktop. Yeah.
yeah.
Do you guys see my screen?
Yes, perfect.
Yeah. So this is the RB2B channel that I was talking about. So this person visited, at 1:49 p.m. She's an investor from a company, and then the agent took this message, read all these messages, and basically went ahead and prepared the message that I can send her. This is the email that uh, drafted for me so that I can review and send it. We use it for our use case all the time. What we do is that we have not automated the sending part yet, but when we do, when almost 85% of the email, we don't have to edit it and we can send it as is. Around 15% we do some edit, not because it produced a wrong email, but because we want to add some additional information. So if you look at the execution of this agent, like it has 7 tasks, right? So the first task, it identified who are the people in my Slack. It went and read the messages from Slack, and then it went to the LinkedIn because I instructed to go to LinkedIn and uh, get all the information for them, for every user. It found the email ID for each and every user. Then it created a company overview, how we can help them with our automation for their use cases. What are the key challenges in their industry, and then it basically at the end it created that email, as I said, for Soumya, um, because out of those messages that came in Slack, she's the only one who meets our ICP criteria, right? So because we do like a job title based, and based on that ICP, it found for yesterday's messages, or I think it is today morning's message. These are the people that it found and then prepared the message for me, right? So if you look at again the same thing here, everything needs it will tell you where it needs a configuration. It needs a Slack configuration, so I connected the Slack. I connected to my Slack, and you can specify that. Okay, what is the channel that you want to connect to? Slack is an OAuth-based authentication, so we have the Slack connector. Sorry. For LinkedIn profile extraction, it needs the leaks connector to connect to LinkedIn and get the user's profile. And then for email lookup, it needs probably the Apollo connector. So, I configured my Apollo connector here. Then for industry research, this is web. Product service information collector, this is web. And finally, for email draft, it probably asked me for the Microsoft Outlook connector. So again, it's just giving those instructions in the create workflow as is, as you want the agent to perform. I think the unique point and why this works for most of the use cases is because we can identify and break it into a plan, break it into granular task that is required to do all these things in the workflow. That's why our system does not hallucinate. That's why our system work repetitively, almost perfectly every time you run the agent. In fact, fun fact, when I was preparing for this presentation, I actually created an agent to basically prepare the presentation for me. The presentation that you saw, initially, it basically, I asked, okay, by generating content for slides and talking points based on the objective target audience. So I said my target audience is SDRs and BDRs, and as SDRs and BDRs, and I wanted to make a presentation. Imagine this, like creating a presentation for a customized presentation for one of your prospects or for one of your customer based on an email conversation or based on their problem statement or based on the solution that you can provide them. You can do all of this. It basically prepared the presentation for today. It gave me a lot of things. If you look at the results, these are the input that I gave. Target audience is SDR and BDR. My presentation theme was how good this can help automate tasks for SDRs and BDRs. I wanted to be in 15 minutes. So it gave me, a lot of, and it finally prepared that presentation, but I wanted to keep it kind of, uh, small. So that's why I went ahead and edited the generated PowerPoint that I explained to you, or that I kind of showed you in the beginning. But my point is the kind of agents that you can build is limitless, right? You can, build almost any kind of automation or any kind of workflow to automate your tasks. We have a big list of connectors. So, if you look at this, and this list is growing. So we have all these different connectors. If you have an API, see, most of the customers, they need some API-based integration, right? So if that system that the agent or workflow needs to connect to has an API that conforms to the Open API standard, you don't even have to build the connector. You just give the documentation to that API, and this connector will automatically build that integration for you. It's just one click. If you look at this, it's basically ask you for the URL pointing to the API schema. It will automatically identify what is the authentication mechanism, what are the endpoints that this API library provides, and it will automatically build the integration for you. How are you doing on time? I think we have another 15 minutes, so I want to keep some time for everybody to give you an opportunity to ask questions. So yeah, the floor is open. If you have any questions, I'll be really very happy to answer that.
Thank you so much, Chandan, for such a lovely session. I hope our audience also enjoyed it enough. Everyone, the floor is open, as Chandan already mentioned, for questions. Feel free to speak up. You can unmute yourself. You can ask anything that you have.
Hi, sorry. Quick question. I was bouncing in and out, but I was able to catch a majority of it. Is there like a cost structure for like further use and like consistent implementation?
Yeah. So the way we work with our customers is that all of our customers gets a 30-day trial period, POC period that we call it. And during that period, our team will help you. If you get stuck, as you can see from the demo, it's almost like you can do it on your own. But send me an email, or you can go and kind of go to our website and fill up a form. So we'll give you a 30-day trial period. We have different price structures. You can use, like, if you have most of our customers starts with kind of a flexible price point. Our enterprise customers obviously goes with the annual contract, but we have a per agent, depending on how many times you need to run that workflow. Sorry, not per agent, per workflow, depending on how many times you need to run that workflow. There's a price structure. I'll let me paste the URL here. I'll send you the URL and you can look at the price structure. You can start as low as, I think, $399 per month for per workflow.
Thank you.
Anybody else, if you have any other question? Pradeep, I think you asked your question and I have sort of answered it. If you have anything specific that you want to understand in the updates coming up, feel free to ask.
All good. All good. Thank you very much. An awesome presentation. I loved it.
Thank you, Pradeep.
Georgie, if you could hear us, I think you just joined. In case you want like a summary of what exactly happened in the session, I think Chandan would be able to explain you in a gist. If you have any question that's in your mind that you are looking for a solution, maybe we can help you run through the solutions that we have for you for the same problem. So please feel free to ask. Chandan, we have a question. Daniel is saying, is coding skills required or is it done 100%
Absolutely.
no code?
Yeah, absolutely not. There is 100% no coding. In fact, we don't have a place for you to add the code. As I showed you, I don't know, Daniel, if you saw the demo, it's basically plain English. You just give a set of instructions and the workflow will be created automatically for you. It will automatically identify the tasks. It will automatically identify the sequence of events and everything. And there is absolutely no coding here. Not even a drag and drop kind of an interface. Yeah.
Yeah, and do you need to tune it or refine it a little bit, or just use it
Yes.
directly?
So yeah, that's a good question. We give you so let me go back. You guys can still see my screen, right?
Yes, Chandan.
Yeah, okay. So take, for example, this task, right? I can go here and so it basically said these are the agent actions, right? I can go and edit this, or let me take a different example. Say, for example, this one. It gave you a task like search email ID. You can also edit this, or you can add a new instruction for a new action that you want the agent to perform. Okay, you can also do that. So these are basically this is the blueprint that the system gives you. Most of the time it works as is. But if you want to kind of change it, you can click on edit, and then you can say use the lead's name, company information to search for the email IDs. Now you can add additional instruction, right? Whatever you can think of, and you can say, based on the email, verify if this is a company email or whatever. And I'm just making it up. You can give that instruction here, right? You can always edit the instructions, the way you want it. Yeah, but the system will automatically, based on the requirement that you have given for the workflow, it will automatically identify each and every action that it needs. But you have always have the option to enhance it. Does that answer your question, Daniel?
Yeah, thank you.
Chandan, we have another question by Pradeep in the chat.
Pradeep, your question is, can you please explain if I batch my work task via Excel workflow? So what you mean is you have an Excel sheet and you want to do it a batch processing. Am I understanding your
Yes.
question correctly?
Yes, Chandan, correctly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So for
Yes.
example, I just apply
Mhm.
5, 6, or 10, maybe could be 20 tasks, a similar task
Mhm.
in one Excel as input, and then I
Mhm.
want agent to read them one by one and give me the output.
Exactly. That is possible. You can instruct the agent to read it one by one from the Excel sheet, and that is possible with the new workflow.
Great. Thanks.
Great. I think our audience is very much interactive. They've asked their questions. Final round, guys, if anybody has any question.
No, I'm good. Thanks a lot.
Okay. Thanks, Pradeep.
Thank you, everyone.
Yeah. Thanks, Daniel, as well. Thank you, everyone, for joining. You had been lovely audience. And I hope this session would have given you something that you were looking forward to. And Chandan, if you could share your email ID, if anybody wants to reach out to you, you can share that
Yep.
as well in the chat.
All right. So here is my email ID. Anybody who needs to reach out to me, I'm here, or send me LinkedIn connection. We can take it from there.
Great. So we'll keep coming with much more use cases because this tool doesn't just stop at one use case. There are a lot of problems that we can solve with GoodGist. So in case you have any other use case, any other segment that you are feeling that you need a solution for, you can turn back to us. You can use Chandan's email ID, and we'll be doing much more webinars with much more knowledge coming in further. You can keep joining. You can join our LinkedIn space to be updated about it. And there are a lot of updates, as Chandan already mentioned, that are coming with the new release. We'll be circulating information about it as well. If you want to keep knowing what's happening, you want to get updates, you can subscribe to our newsletter and keep track of our blogs and socials as well. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining in. Wish you a very, very happy weekend. Thank you so much for taking out your time. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks a lot. Nice weekend. Bye for now.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, everybody.